Does picking an outfit have you running a little too fashionably late? We get it. Great taste takes time. That's why Drizzly, the #1 app for alcohol delivery, has your back with the largest selection of beer, wine, and spirits, delivered in under 60 minutes. Convenience never goes out of style. So if you need to spend some extra time in the mirror instead of at the store, download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com today.
It is in progress because we're progressive.
We are progressive. This is ImmaLetYouFinish with Courtney and Amy.
Hello.
You know what this show is, Pantheon Podcast Network. I'm going to start this show off on a serious note, and then we're going to get into it. You know, as a 54-year-old man who's been a Democrat my whole life, I feel like Joe Biden and this administration right now, when I see what is happening with the Haitians at that border, we know all that these people are escaping, all that they've been through in their country. I mean, not even just in the last year, but for years. And the lack of compassion that I'm seeing and how quickly planes were here to take people who, some of them have been gone for 2 years back. Black people put this administration in office. And if you do not want to be a one-term president, you better fix this situation at this border and treat people with some humanity and understand people don't leave their homes because they want to. People usually leave their homes because they're desperate and they have to. And this whole idea of America not having enough space when there are so many wide swaths of America that are not used. And all of these jobs that entry-level positions that no Americans seem to want to take, well, there could be people to take them. I don't want to see people who look like me, like being whipped like slaves with men on horses ever again in my lifetime. And if you don't want to be a one-term president, you better make sure that never happens again. And on that note, welcome to the show. I'd like to come into talking about Sarah Dash. Now, you and I talk about LaBelle a lot because you know I'm obsessed with LaBelle. I love LaBelle. I love the group LaBelle. They don't have groups like this anymore, right? Where you have three distinctive voices who can really sing. There's always like let me not disrespect groups. They always have voices who can sing, right? But there's always that one who's the dominant voice, and then the other two who you know can kind of carry a note. Each of these ladies, Nona Hendrix, Sarah Dash, Patti LaBelle, could sing. Yeah. And the stuff they were singing about, you know, in the 70s was like these Black women singing about sexuality, sex, and political stuff. It was just, that was kind of unheard of at that time for Black groups. And Sarah Dash was the soprano of that group. She's really undersung of that group because, you know, I think out of everybody, her catalog is probably the least known, right? But she was amazing, and she passed away unexpectedly yesterday. And it really kind of hit me. You know, I'm not one of those people who gets crazy when famous people die. It's like I didn't know them, but I love LaBelle, and it just seems like, wow, the legends are leaving. Patti just said that LaBelle were back together and gonna go on the road, and then, you know, for Sarah to pass away, it really is the end of an era because those three ladies cannot be repeated, and it can't happen without all three of them. And I really want her to get her flowers. Like her biggest hit was a disco song called Sinner Man, a Tom Moulton production. But I honestly think her 1980 album, Ooh La La, is the one that really gives you just great vocal and amazingness. And, you know, she's going to be missed.
Yep. She will be. They were a great group, really great group. So it's very sad and very unexpected. Mm-hmm. All right, should we? Let's
get to it. Yes,
the mood a little lighter.
Absolutely.
What do you want to talk? You want to start with the Emmys, which is?
Oh my God! So here's the thing. I don't know about you. It's like my patience I used to love an award show. I used to love all that shit. But the Hollywoodism, and maybe we've been beat down with celebrities so much, like watching the speeches and people on the Emmys, I really couldn't stay with it too long. I was like, man, this is everything is so fake and so weird.
I thought the speeches were great.
Not all of them. Some of them.
Yeah, but they never are all great.
I mean, I know, but some of them were just, it just felt Hollywood weird, and I'm getting a little over that. Really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't come into award shows expecting it, it is Hollywood. I mean, these are professional. I thought, I went in and out of it. I thought Seth Rogen's comments pretty much summed up the night, which was like, why are we in this room? You said we were going to be outside. There were too many people in here.
And the funny thing is, that he was like, ha, 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 joke, but he
was
shit.
not ha, ha, ha.
I was like,
joke.
He meant that shit.
No, he meant it. No, he very much meant it. And they didn't have it last year, so they tried to make it a little looser. They put liquor at the tables.
They had it last year, but just not, it was that weird thing.
Yeah, right. They made it in person and stuff.
Right.
I mean, I thought that, the speeches were fine. I thought that the cast of Schitt's Creek were hilarious. They always, any chance to see oh my God, Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy is a chance that everyone should seize. Debbie Allen.
I still watch Best in Show.
It's great. It's a great thing.
They are hilarious.
Yeah.
Best in Show.
So I thought that, Michaela Cole's speech was obviously
she was good. She was actually my favorite.
I thought the cast of The Crown speeches were good. I've never seen Ted Lasso, so I'm sure his speech. I thought, it is Hollywood. So it's diversion. It's to shine a light on the industry. It went relatively smoothly. No animals were harmed in the making of this production. Conan, I thought, was hilarious. Conan was the whole show from what I see, interrupting all the time.
Dude, I hate that I feel like because he moved to cable, he doesn't get as much of his due as he
doesn't get as much due because he got screwed by Jay Leno.
He got fucked by Jay Leno.
He got fucked by Jay Leno.
That was and Jay Leno justified that bullshit. And it was like, man.
All in all, but other than that, there's been some, I have not seen Ted Lasso, so I cannot speak to the show, but I
haven't seen it, but my friends love
it. I know they love it.
They love it.
I'm sorry, and I don't want to get up and I understand the Emmy's so white, but I can't understand I understand Emmy's so white, but I'm sorry, The Crown is a great show.
Well,
and
what I was going to say about that is, it's like, you can't. The argument doesn't keep being that when you just expect everybody to win. So should the other people in the category, they didn't win either. And the thing is, there have been years where there's been a lot of Black actors win, and then people still aren't happy. Like, why did she win? Listen, it's like the Emmy thing. It's like the Grammy thing. They changed a lot of those committees. There are younger people. There are a lot of people on those committees. Now you can't get mad if you still are not getting the nomination or if you don't win. And Black people are not some monolithic group. I think that people think that just because Black people are voting, they are absolutely just voting for other Black people. I think there are some people who do. I think some people look and say, my favorite performance was Olivia Colman.
Well, no, that's
you know what I mean? And it's hard to argue with that. It's like Olivia Colman.
Yeah, the only, like I said,
Kate Winslet. Kate Winslet acts circles around people.
Yeah, the only of the shows I've seen where I would go, really, I don't think he was the best, but I didn't see all the other people, was Ewan McGregor. And I love Ewan McGregor, but that playing Halston, that was just like, that was just like.
I always want Black people to win, but I feel like we need to pick. I think everything can't be the same battle. Black people didn't win, so now it's a problem. It's like, guys, if we keep watering down this issue and making everything this racist issue over fucking dumb shit like awards, you take the gravitas off of a very real situation. Nobody gives a fuck. Some people win, some people lost.
All right. But like I said, I was happy overall with it, and life goes on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Life goes on. Mm-hmm. So you want to talk about the album that they have been, the Montero. Do you want to talk about that?
Okay, let me just say this. One, I love that he dropped a video for every song on the album. You know, I always appreciate the kids. The kids love to give you a little bonus. And it's better than I thought it would be.
Well, I think we can stop. I think this whole idea that he's a rap artist is bullshit.
I think of him as even though he's kind of rapping, I think of all these new guys, some of them like that. I'm like, you're a pop artist because your shit is not, it's black radio is not, and rap radio is not where your music
well,
is. Well,
he's also, I mean,
but here's the thing: be a pop artist. That's where the money's at. So go there and do it. You'll have a big international career and work for a long time. And I'm glad that this project is great. But I told you what I said before. You gave us all of this. There's condoms, which I can tell you got money from condoms. You got the little gay sex. All of that's great. What are you going to give me an album to? Because you can't still just be like, I'm gay. Well,
he just did. So
this is his first album.
Yes, I know.
I know, and I just said, what you're going to give me an album to, because the shock and awe of boys grinding, that has happened. This is I enjoy this project. I'm really looking to see what is it going to be beyond this. And can you do a tour? Can you do a live show where you're giving me? Right now, that's what I wouldn't give him a 2-hour show yet, right? An hour and 10-minute show. Can you put that together? And can you vocally deliver it? I want to see that.
So I listened to the record. Mm-hmm. I do not like the tone of his voice when he sings. I find it very whiny. I just don't like it. That's my.
Oh, he can't sing.
All right. So So
that's what it is.
No,
it's like he's talking, but he can't sing.
Right. So, but what I thought was really, first off, he has clearly been listening to a lot of Outkast and Andre 3000. It is very clear that that's especially on That's What I Want. You hear "Hey Ya" all over that. The influence I got on this, and I couldn't really hear all the lyrics from what I've read. It's a very kind of personal confessional record, which is great.
Yeah.
Well, the influence I keep hearing is 90s pop punk stuff. I'm hearing Blink-182 and Fall Out Boy and all that stuff because it's that very. It's not really alt rock. It's not really punk. It's not really pop, because that's where he seems to come most alive. When the production on this record is fantastic.
You can hear the money. You hear.
Oh money. No, you hear the money. You can hear the money. But you know what?
Yeah. But that makes sense, and you saying that makes sense, right? Because it's not our generation where the '80s guys were going back and they were digging into those '60s and '70s records. Right. These young kids are digging into the shit that was my growing up records, the 80s, the 90s, the early aughts. So all of what you said would be the stuff to them.
That's older, old. That's classic rock. Right.
Exactly.
Some 41 classic rock.
They're like, remember when Limp Bizkit?
Yeah. Oh God, no, he doesn't go that way. No, but it's very much a white kid sound in a lot of ways.
Well, it's a pop.
No, it's a pop record. The track with Doja Cat, he's very much like Doja Cat in that he's amorphous. He's like whatever you need him to be, he's going to be.
It's the pop moment, right?
I don't know what Elton John is doing on the record other than playing piano. I kept waiting for the vocal, and I'm like, okay, I don't hear that. You know, it's. Look, am I going to listen to it again? Probably not. But it is much better, as you said, than I thought it was going to be.
Me too.
Yeah.
Much better than I thought it was
much better.
And listen, I'm glad when I'm pleasantly surprised that these young people records are better than I thought.
I think he firmly takes himself out of the gimmick territory with this. But I don't, the fact that he is singing in choppy sentences does not make him a rapper. So I think let's focus on the pop stuff. He's a pop artist. He's the perfect pop artist for this moment. And let's see what happens, from there.
Absolutely.
So pleasantly, I didn't dread listening to it. I think it'll sell a gazillion copies.
Well, they don't sell anymore. It'll stream a gazillion copies.
But it's much better than I thought it was going to be.
Me too. Listen, I was surprised. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't hate this.
Yeah, I don't hate this. That's faint praise. Oh, I don't hate this.
Listening to music in 2021, almost 2022.
I don't hate this. Don't hate this. Right.
It's like, but
that's my motto.
Because the bar has been set so fucking low that it's hard to get excited for some shit. It's like all of a sudden it comes and you're like, oh, that's it. Okay.
Well, I mean, in the defense, he set himself up. He knew, I mean, there is no way in hell after all the shenanigans and all of this and a #1 record-breaking ubiquitous single, they must have kept this child locked in the studio for years and said, you are not leaving here until every single song. I mean, come on. I mean, this would have been the biggest disaster known to mankind if he had come out of this thing with a shit record. So
Girl,
yeah,
listen,
I mean,
that would have been some bullshit.
Yeah.
I love it for the little black queens and the queer people.
Yeah.
I love that he is having this moment, and I love that he delivered, and I like that he gave you visuals. All of that's great.
Yeah, I don't care about the visuals.
Well, listen, we shouldn't. We're grown folks. It's not.
No, it's got nothing to do with
nothing.
You always put in terms of it's grown folks. I don't care about his visuals. How's that?
But that's what I'm saying. His visuals aren't even really for us. I'm like, it is really, I look at his visuals and it really is specific to me, to a younger set who that's all going to be down. It's like, I think for us, we can listen to their music and appreciate it, but we don't need to sit and watch a little Nas X video album. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
We don't.
Not at all. Not at all. I don't need the idea of video album is an oxymoron anyway, but we'll go. That's a whole nother.
You know who has the undersung video album that was one of the first, I believe, the first video album that always gets overlooked because everybody always thinks, that Beyonce did the first video album. No, Eurythmics had a video album for Savage.
Right.
Where Sophie Mueller, which was the first work of her very illustrious, her work is amazing. Her first video work is
Savage,
doing all of the videos for the Savage. And if you guys haven't seen it, that's the album where, the international folks know that album. The American kids, unless you're a music geek, like that's the one that had Beethoven, I Need a Man, You Place a Chill in My Heart, I've Got to Love It Back. And it's just amazing when she's the mad housewife. But anyway, I digress.
Okay. What do you want? What's up?
I want to say congratulations to both Manic Street Preachers and Steps. Who have the #1 and 2 albums in the UK this week after a fight where almost 20-something over 20 years ago, the same week, they were fighting for the #1 position on the chart. And I believe it's like 23 years later, they both put out new albums the same week again, and both have the #1 and 2 position. I'm especially happy for Steps because I'm a big Steps fan. And they were kind of this corny group that came around with a techno line dancing song in the year 2000. Nobody thought they would last. They were a Pete Waterman group, and they had a lot of hits. They broke up, came back together, still the original set. And they've been since 2017. This is their 3rd album since 2017. They are a straight up pop group, but making adult pop is really hard, especially when people try to follow trends and do all of that. And Steps have stayed themselves. And this is like What the Future Holds Part 2 is a just great pop album. I think it's great. It's a hard, listen, Kylie did it with disco. You see, I feel like when Madonna struggled trying to make all these other records instead of doing what she does best, when you're a pop artist, you get aged out of that shit. You and I have talked about all of the time. But if you are a true pop group and you have success and you still have that fan base, they are going back out on tour. They tour arenas. To make a smart, great record as adults and not basically be trying to sound young or trying to sound like kids, try to sound like yourselves at an age-appropriate age on record at pop, not trying to chase radio or anything. They made a great record, and #2 is fabulous, and I'm really happy for them. I thought
Manic Street, weren't they the group where the lead singer disappeared or died? No, I'm being serious. I didn't think they existed. He
No, they
died.
do.
He walked off and died. Isn't that man? He walked off and was never heard from again. Was
no,
Manic
not
Street
this
Preachers.
one. This is a new record they've recorded.
No, it doesn't matter if it's a new. I mean, I'm saying
it's the same, but I believe it's the same group. I'm sure, maybe, I don't know.
There was some British group of that era. I'm going to Google it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who disappeared. The guy was never died. It was murdered. Well, anyway, you continue on. You can talk about Diana Ross because she doesn't mean anything to me. And then I'll Google this. Nothing. Sorry. I don't care.
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. No.
I'm Googling this.
How dare you? Diana Ross is a legend.
I don't care if she's a legend.
Oh my God.
I mean, I like her head.
I'm not gonna. Okay.
Hold on.
Do you understand that you will have a black gay mafia?
Yeah, no, that's why I don't give a fuck. I can outrun a bunch of gay men, okay?
Anyway.
No, I like Diana Ross. I don't live for her, but I do like her. I like obviously the Chic album.
Well, she has she has 2 new songs out from her forthcoming album, Thank You. The first one's called Thank You. And the second one is like, hold on, I have it right here. Something about people and dancing. See, now you're gonna make. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I love Diana Ross. I do not really like these new songs.
Okay.
But I'm going to always give Diana Ross props because she's not had an album in like 17. If the World Just Danced, it's called, and it's an up tempo. Listen, I love Diana Ross. I love that she's putting out this is her first new album, I believe, in like 17 years, some crazy amount of time. Wow. So I'm absolutely going to support the record. You know,
it was another group, obviously. I'm sorry, it was obviously another group. There's some other British group where somebody like was killed or disappeared or something like that. So
so anyway, she got 2 new songs. I don't love them, but it's how I feel about the ABBA songs, right? It's like, I'm so happy you're still making music. I'm going to support it. Is it my favorite? No, but I'm absolutely going to spin it, support it, and give Diana some props.
See here, that's an interesting thing you say. I honestly, if they're putting out mediocre music, then don't put out. Then don't bother. Don't bother. You're ABBA, for Christ's sakes. You're Diana Ross, right? You know good music when you hear it. So I would rather they quit while they're ahead. I
get that too. It's a hard thing, right?
I mean, what we love about Pet Shop Boys is they're consistently putting out great stuff. If their next record is like, and then we have to go, I mean, I love, my joking around about Diana Ross, but I'm saying the idea of putting out music, I'm so glad they're back if they're good. Right. If they're not good, then I'm like, why are you doing this?
That's the real deal, T, because I feel like I wanted Diana Ross to come back, and if she was going to have a new song,
Diana Ross.
I wanted it to feel big.
Yeah. She may not. I always am like,
because after all of those years, and it's like the same thing with ABBA, right? After all of those years, I needed to feel that moment where I'm just like, I can't, like I've had moments when shit in here, it's on repeat. It's just, I can't stop playing it. And I haven't done that with either.
You're not going to, because you're not going to. In the words of the late great Johnny Thunder, you can't put your arms around a memory, right? You're not going to.
True.
It's how often does a band? Seriously, it would be good, and we can talk about the Fugees. But how often does a band rekindle nostalgia and make it as like everybody's excited the Fugees are getting back together and touring? Is anyone going to listen to a new Fugees record if it came out?
Well, right. Well, and more importantly,
is there a Fugees record?
No. This right now is a celebration of the anniversary of the score, which was, it holds a special place in my heart because that is the first ever plaque I got from working any record. And I've been in the music industry for a couple of years. I wasn't an assistant anymore, and I got a plaque from doing work on that record and that campaign. So it holds a special place in my heart. That being said, I'm always curious like you. Here's all the press and everything around it. I keep seeing pictures of them from back then. What does everybody look like now? What's it going to be now? Because I've seen some of them individually what's it going to be now? And listen, the tour they're going on, they're embarking on a real shit. They're
playing tonight. And this is Wednesday, the 22nd. Yeah. They're doing a secret show, which is not a secret.
Tonight's the secret show where you can win tickets for. That's for Global Citizen that will air on Saturday.
All right, let's take bets. Let's take bets as to when Lauryn Hill shows up.
Oh no, she'll show up because here's the
tomorrow.
Thing.
Tomorrow.
No, here's what I believe. Oh, you mean Miss Hill?
Ms. Hill. Ms. Is it Miss or Ms?
Miss.
Oh, she's Miss? Because she was Ms.
She's Miss Hill. Miss Hill.
Bless her heart.
And they all call her that every day. Everybody calls her Miss Hill. And which is quite interesting. I'm like, Shuma. Okay. So it's like, I'm just like, all right, you're undertaking, you're going to go on this big tour. That's great. People love nostalgia. That's great. I think it's great for the culture that the Fugees want to come back. It needs to be excellent. It doesn't need to be any bullshit. I don't want, Lauren's also going to have to, Miss Hill, if you're selling tickets and it's a Fugees show and you're playing arenas, don't think that people aren't going to want to hear one or two of your solo records up in there. And don't come in here and do some weird version of Killing Me Softly. That's like
I give it 3 months.
You give it 3 months. I'm trying to see if they make it through 3 shows. You said 3 months.
Well, I'm saying,
only
wait a minute.
The tour's only a month.
Oh, the tour's only a month?
No,
then I give it 3. I give it 3 shows. I give it 3 shows. I give it 3 shows. I give it 3 shows because they got back together in 2004. It was a disaster. They didn't sell any tickets. They're like the Fleetwood Mac of hip hop,
Listen, they are playing the Defense Arena in Paris. That is where Milan Farmer just paid to be. That place seats 40,000 people.
Well, they might do better in Europe. They might actually do better in Europe. They do.
And they're playing 2 countries in Africa. They're playing Nigeria and Ghana, I believe. And they'll probably do great in Africa.
Yeah, they'll do there because there's not as many Americans.
And listen, they'll sell out Newark. They're going to play the Prudential Center, right? They're Jersey kids. They will sell out Newark.
Right, but I just think that I'm sorry, she's going to fuck up in terms of times. And I just think it also, look, it just feels like such a money grab. Come on.
I know that they're working on all of this other stuff. I believe there's supposed to be like a documentary that they're working on about the score,
about the
anniversary and all of that. So listen, no, I kind of think about it. She only made 1 record, right? So her money has really come from all of these years of being on the road, and nobody's really being on the road. There comes a time when you need some coins. Where your ass shows up on time because now you're playing arenas, so you're going to get real coins.
Well,
you show up on time.
Well, Wyclef's bet. Well, no, he will because he's much more.
So will she? Because I think if she's doing this, like you said, everybody must be the financial part. Financial parts when everybody's older versus younger makes you show up on time.
Well, isn't Clef is he running for president of Haiti again, or did he give up on that shit?
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Look, I've seen them.
Remember when he was greased up on the motorcycle like in Hanny? I was like, what is happening?
I've seen them. I've seen them twice. They are a great lot. No, have I seen them twice? I've seen them 3 times. Excuse me. They are great. They are great.
Listen, that's the one thing they can do. They can put on a live show. Yeah,
they are great. So I just think that the egos and the time and the whatever. Yeah, 3 shows. 3 shows. 3 shows.
Yeah, 3 shows.
3 shows.
3 shows. Mm-hmm. 3 motherfucking shows.
3 shows. All right. When do you want to get into?
Rolling Stone does this fucking list, and we didn't talk about it last week when they have top 500 songs, blah, blah, blah. It's the first time they've revamped it since 2004. And this is all I'm going to say about the list. In 2004, Martha Reeves and the Vandellas Dancing on the Street was number 40. On the new revamp list, it's moved all the way up to 130. Now, here's my issue with that if you're going to make a list. A song that can rank that high and fall that far down just shows me all of this shit is subjective. Who cares?
Of course
it's bullshit. It's like, I get it falling down the chart a little bit, moving up a little bit, but if it can rank as high as 40, there's no way it should go from 40 to 130.
Well, but there's a reason. Yes, obviously it's subjective.
Madonna songs in the top 100? We're talking pop.
Okay. Yeah, look, I have some issues with There were a couple songs. I was surprised that Love Will Tear Us Apart again was so far up. I was surprised that The Message was not in the top 10 because that is a song that changed the culture. It changed the culture. I'm surprised that Satisfaction went from top 20 to way up there again. But here's the thing. How they did it is they got together a bunch of writers and cultural critics and this time though, they did expand it wasn't just a boys club this time. So and this is both a criticism and a good thing and a bad thing. If you're a 25-year-old writer, your idea of what Robin is going to be and I love Robin, and this is not a diss to Robin, but Robin made the top 20. Robin is going to be as important to you, if not more so, than Dancing in the Streets. Now, one of the advantages...
Or Madonna.
Right.
Or Vogue.
Right. One of the advantages of being an old person is that I can remember Dancing in the Streets, and I do have a huge appreciation for it, and I can put it in the context. So that's what becomes weird. Is Satisfaction any less an important and groundbreaking and, oh my God, as soon as you hear that riff, you know what it is song? No, but now you're dealing with, and Rolling Stones need also to be relevant when it is no longer a relevant. Nobody cares about Rolling Stone. Right. Nobody cares about Spin. Nobody cares about Vibe. Nobody cares about The Source. Nobody cares about any of these magazines.
Right.
They just don't. And that's not saying they're bad. So it's subjective. And I think it's this need to make sure that everything is represented. And what makes, it's sort of like Elvis was a hero to most, but he never meant shit to me. Well, he means shit to a lot of people, but he might not mean shit to other people. But how do you clock his importance?
Right.
That said, maybe Aretha Franklin, Respect is the number one single.
Yes.
I don't think that's her best song. I never have thought that was her best song.
I don't think that's her best song either.
Yeah. And I've always wondered why that's the one they glom onto all the time. It's a great song. Don't take me.
No,
it's a great message.
No one's saying it's not a great song.
But why? I always love Chain of Fools. I always love Chain of Fools much more in terms of an Aretha experience. But
I could go through a whole list. I love Daydreaming, Rock Steady.
Exactly.
I think to me, her best song.
I Never Loved the Man the Way I Love You as a Man. Yeah.
Like that. That. After 9 albums at Columbia.
Yeah, no, that's a great song.
That stamped her here.
But it's just interesting that becomes, that becomes like, but when you
I look at something like Kelly Clarkson, Since You've Been Gone, being ranked higher than, which is an amazing song.
It's a great song.
It's ranked higher than any Madonna song on the list at number 90.
But that's what I'm saying. This is when you you're getting a 25-year-old, a 30-year-old who's like, that's the first pop punk. Think about when's the last time Madonna had a hit record?
2005.
They weren't born.
Right.
They weren't, or they were little kids.
They were born, but they were kids.
They were little kids. So, this is a whole commentary on people. And I'm not saying that I'm not putting down the writers.
No, look at some of those names in there, because some of those are some
they're amazing, great writers.
Real people.
These are, but I'm saying, I think that there was this need it was needed to make it less, the old white boy club and like, black music that white people, but I think, it's like they're trying to take it away from, but I will say this, and I mean, come on, 2 Beyonce songs in the top 50. Come on. Only one should have been in there. Crazy and Love It. And I think 99 Problems should have been in the top 20.
I think of things that are never there. I think something like Lolita Holloway's Love Sensation, right? Because that song is still a classic, but so many other songs have sample and taking her vocal from that song that it's never acknowledged in the way it needs to be. Phyllis Hyman's You Know How to Love Me. There's just things that I was looking at this list and I'm like, this is so subjective, but it's bullshit.
But all things, I know
all things.
All things are subjective.
I know.
This show is subjective. We are a show based
in fact.
No, our facts as we see it.
And that is fact.
Right.
This is a fact-based show.
I mean,
allegedly.
It's subjective. It's meant to be clickbait. It's meant to inspire conversation. I am just surprised, though, that the message was as. I'm glad "Fight the Power" is number 2. I'm surprised that the message was so far up, because to me the message is sort of like that one hip hop song where everybody can look. That was the moment when things changed, but. It's something for the kids to argue about. It's like anything else. It's like award shows. It's just something, a distraction from everything else. And when you ask what would be our top 10, I mean, Jesus Christ, if it were up to me.
I can't. Yeah.
I mean,
I was trying to think about it because it's like, I don't believe in every time I think if somebody says, who are your top favorite artists? I'll name 5 and they'll be like, oh my God, I forgot this one and that. Yeah. It's hard for me to do that because I think that there's so much great music. Who's to say what's the best, right? What's the best for what mood for me, right? Because there's sometimes where there's some artists and some people, like I'll get into a Minnie Riperton mood, and to me, there's no other voice, and her voice is just. It's fully satisfying, and I'll be days of listening to her records, and then all of a sudden I'll slip into a Grace Jones mood, and that puts me in another vibe, and then I'll go into a freestyle mood, and so it's hard because there's just so much great music, and I guess these lists are fun because they get people talking, and that part I do like because it gets people talking about music. To agree, disagree, argue about it, talk about music. Let's all bring up what should have been there, what wasn't there. I love that it does spark that kind of conversation.
But the only thing you can really say without equivocation of what is the best is sports, because someone wins and someone loses. So true. You can say the Chicago Bulls were the best, even if you hated them in the 90s because they won.
And
I could sit there and do a 5-hour speech about While Sleeping Satellites by Tasman Archer is one of the greatest singles of all time. But that's my opinion. You know what I mean?
Tony Child, Stop Your Fussing. You know what I mean?
I've never heard that song, so I assume.
Stop your fuss. Okay, I'll send you that album.
Yeah.
You don't know Tony Child?
I know Tony Child. Okay. I just don't know that song.
That was like her one. It was kind of like a halfway hit.
But you know what I'm saying is that.
Oh yeah, I get it. Yeah.
It's got to be, unless there's literally like a scorekeeper. It's like, how are you going to say it's the best? It's like, prove it. It's like, well, So we could go.
Basketball comes back next month. Let me just say this. And I'm just hoping, now I'm going to even start rooting for the Nets. I need the Knicks and the Nets to do well because the Giants fucking suck again. The Jets fucking suck again. The Yankees suck. And the Mets suck. Every team we have playing right now is playing like fucking shit in New York. It's like, what the fuck? What happened to New York sports? We're such a prideful sports town, but all of our teams are just like fucking dicking around. I'm so frustrated. I need my Knicks I need them to build on that spark from last season and not come with no bullshit. I can't take no more bullshit with my sports teams. Every other city is like, yay, New York, we're all fucking digging our heads in the sand. It's like, you all fucking fuck. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off track. I'm so upset. It's like everybody keeps it.
It's okay.
I watched the Giants beat themselves the other night. Mistake. You should have seen me in here. I was like hitting myself. It was just.
Okay. Do I have to do a wellness check?
Yes, you do. Yes.
Do I have to do a wellness check? And then the Jets lost on Sunday.
You need to be calling, being like, they just lost. I need you to
knock
on the door.
Not for nothing, but I think the Jets losing is like saying the sun is going to come up tomorrow. I mean, I don't even ask.
But I always have hope, Miss Thing.
No, I know. Listen, hello, we've been Knicks fans, but I think there are just certain teams that saying, "Oh, those Detroit Lions, they lost." I mean, I think we can. There are certain things. I just read it real fast, and then is there anything else you wanted to mention while I'm looking at the anything else you want to mention? Because I want to talk real fast about Bitchin', the Rick James doc, which I finally saw. Have you seen it?
Okay, I'm so mad that I forgot. So I've been watching other shit because I just finished today the Muhammad Ali Ken Burns.
Okay, it's on PBS.
It's on PBS, yeah, and all of the episodes are there. The fourth part actually airs on TV tonight, but all the episodes are online now.
All right, great. I'll check it out.
For a man who has been, there's been an Academy Award-winning doc. There was an award-winning HBO doc. There's been movie. you know, a Ken Burns piece just always comes in it's done really well. I learned more stuff that I didn't know. And I think you'll really, really like it.
No, I love it.
Thank you for reminding me about the Rick James doc, because I was really excited about that. And now that that's back on my radar, I'm absolutely watching that this week.
Well, I don't have Showtime. So when I was at my friend's house, she had Showtime. And we all know a lot of the people involved in it. Sasha Jenkins, right. You know, former writer, former editor of mine has done this. You'll see our friends Jason King talking, and Harry Wenger, great people. And I knew, you know, obviously I knew the backstory. I knew his association with Neil Young and the stuff. But I gotta say, this is just really well done. And even if you know Rick James, you will be, because the sad thing about Rick James is that everybody forgets how talented he was because of the way his life disintegrated, and he became the butt of Dave Chappelle's jokes. Right. So everybody, but you know, they go over the stuff with Prince, the rivalry with Prince. They go over his upbringing. They focus a lot about his work with Neil Young, him working with the band. I mean, just the depth. And I think it just reestablishes how good he was. And he was more than Super Freak. And Super Freak is a great song. If he had only been Super Freak, but it's called Bitchin'. It's on Showtime.
His music, I have a couple of his albums on vinyl.
No, they're great. They're great.
He was a musician. That
man
and
you see that. And that's what I like about, you know, it's sort of akin to the Amy documentary, in that it doesn't only, though the Rick James thing is a lot more tragic in terms of his life, but and his daughter's involved in the making. So it is a film that has the family working with him. It's just and there is a story about him and Lionel Richie in there that will make you pee in your pants laughing. And that's all I will say. But it's really good. So it's on Showtime. I would assume it's going to go to streaming services soon enough, right? Those things usually shift from.
Showtime has their own, you know, thing. Their I believe they have their on demand and all of that stuff. So hopefully it'll get out there somewhere. But you know, those things are not too hard to find. Wink, wink.
No, exactly. Wink, wink. I'm just saying. They are. If you know, you can find Showtime. Find it. I actually went legit. It was weird. I was like, "What am I doing?" I'm
because you're too legit.
Too legit to quit. Hey. No, but anyway, it's a great documentary. So I highly, and I will check out the Ken Burns stuff because he always makes great documentaries, and Muhammad Ali is like the best subject ever.
Listen. Each episode is like 2 hours, and I was compelled. And you know, the wives are in it, and they speak. We see the other daughters speak. It's not Layla; it's the other. It's the
other kids as well.
And so, it was. So it's like, Layla wasn't even in it.
Do you remember that one daughter? He had a daughter who was a rapper. She's on a Bobby Womack record.
Oh yeah,
she's really good. She's on this one Bobby Womack record. That's a documentary.
His brother. I would love to see
a Bobby Womack documentary.
Oh yeah.
That would be a great freaking story.
I would like to see a Barry White documentary. Oh. There's a Life, and all the think about all the stuff people he produced and the stuff he did, and he had a full moment. You know, he was the man.
Doesn't get 100. Yeah, no, God. And then we could see what Lisa Stansfield looks like these days. Okay.
Well, you know, we did because she put out a record a couple of years ago, and if she still performs around, we've seen her. Yeah, we've seen her.
She's great live. God, she's so good. All right, anything else you want to mention?
Yes, I would like to mention. You guys know what it is. You know where to find us, right? We're on the Pantheon Podcast Network. So you need to check us out there. Follow Pantheon Pods on Twitter. They're on Facebook. They're on IG. There's over 70 music shows. Every type of show you like, every type of music you like, there's a show. Lots of scripted shows, informational shows. There's a couple of free-form shows like us, but really it's a really informative.
Is that what we're calling ourselves now?
We're freeform.
That sounds so much. That sounds so much better than chaotic.
You know, chaotic. And you know the deal. Follow us on Facebook at ImmaLetYouFinish, all one word. ImmaLetYouFinish. Follow us on IG at ImmaLetYouFinish NY. On Twitter at Finish Imma. You know, I do on Twitch couple of times a week, I do a 1 hour I'ma Let You Finish lunch mix. So you can follow me on Twitch TV.
And I eat lunch every
Port
day.
Monty usually it's from 1 to 2. Those are the hours I'm on there, and I do a little I'ma Let You Finish hour-long mix and just have some fun with this. Guys, it's been over 2 years we're doing this show. We're really happy. We're glad you've been rocking with us. And
I just want to say something real fast. Yeah. Next week, we are going to have our dear friend Miles Marshall Lewis, who's going to talk about his new Kendrick Lamar book, which I just got. And I got to say, not for nothing, it is gorgeous. It is a gorgeous
looking. It's Miles. You know, it's going to Miles.
Well, Miles didn't design the book.
No, but guess what? But if it's a Miles book, in his book, he was.
No, seriously. I just started
making sure his book looked good.
No, I just started reading it. But no, I was just shocked because I was just like, wow, because publishing, they're not putting a lot of money into publishing these days. So I was very happy. So we're real excited. Miles is going to speak to us next week, and we are on his official internet tour schedule. So if you check out Miles' site, we are official. So Miles Marshall Lewis, we're ready for you, baby.
My goodies. Not my goodies.
Yeah. I mean, sorry. Work It got higher than Satisfaction. Missy Elliott, Work It.
Miss Thing.
Super Duper Fly is a better song than Work It.
Listen, and Work It is a great song. It's great. But The Rain should have been the one.
That's what I'm saying. Super Duper.
Right. And more importantly, Since You Were Gone is higher than Like a Prayer.
Oh, no. No.
It's like, listen.
Well, kids.
People who do not like Madonna like a Prayer.
That's true. No,
people
it is
who
one
can't
of those.
Stand her like a Prayer.
It's sort of, there is
one of those. It's like if you don't like rock, you still love Living on a Prayer. You know what I mean?
Well, no, I would
no,
really.
Let me just
actually, if you like rock, you don't like Living on a Prayer.
Right. But if you don't like rock, that is one of those songs.
Yeah. I see what you mean.
That people who will never listen to rock can sing the words to that fucking song. Black people, Asian people who never listen to rock. So there's just certain shit where it's like, I get that certain things are a matter of taste, but some things have become a cultural thing. And that's like a cultural thing. And it was almost from the beginning when it came out. It's like Sweet Caroline. I don't give a fuck about that song. I do not understand why that is the Neil Diamond song that drives everybody, makes them go, oh, Sweet Caroline.
I can tell you why. Because British people adapted it because it's got a We Are Sailing kind of. The Brits love that kind of stuff. A pint in the hand.
So were they the first ones to kind of adapt?
Yeah, it's a sea chanty song. They love a sea chanty, the Brits. But anyway, yes.
I'm more of a Love on the Rocks kind of queen, honey. I love Love on the Rocks. Love on the Rocks, Neil Diamond is my shit. Miss Thing, you don't like Love on the Rocks?
No, why are you
Love on the Rocks?
Why are you always surprised when I don't like the stuff?
Pour me a drink and I'll tell you some lies.
I stopped listening to Neil Diamond after Solitary Man. I respect him. I know that he's the Jewish Elvis, right? But yeah, I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't like schmaltz. I'm not a schmaltz girl.
See, I could do it all. I like everything. I do.
I do. I just don't like Love on the Rocks, I don't like Lionel Richie either.
And on that
Courtney, you're asking have you met me?
On that note of miss motherfucking respect. Everybody likes Lionel Richie. No. He's the most inoffensive person on the planet. How do you?
Which is why I don't like him. You, my friend, have just figured out why I don't like him.
In scene. We'll see you next week, kids. Bye. That's
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.